we're going to be focused on building up to fallen star pose. So some of you may or may not have done that pose before. To get started, let's take a couple of shoulder rolls, just starting to even everything out. Perhaps taking some shoulder circles one way and then the other. And then taking some wrist rolls. So again, just going one way and the other, just getting everything warmed up. We're going to start in cat-cow today. So finding an all-fours position, wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. You're going to press in, coming into your cat pose as you exhale. And then rounding the pelvis, coming back through to find your cow pose on the inhale. So working with your breath here. Every inhale and exhale working, perhaps finding a little bit more space in your cat-cow. Make this one your last, and we'll just take a couple of hip circles. So perhaps going just from side to side, one way or other, you can kind of, and then sweeping round to the opposite side. Perhaps incorporating a figure of 8, making it a little bit funky, maybe bringing your cat-cow back. Do whatever feels good, just warming everything up. And then bringing the palms of your hands a palm distance forward, you're going to tuck the toes under, finding your downward facing dog. Really tucking those abs in as you push your bum up and back. Perhaps pedaling out the legs here, if you'd like to do that, but just checking it hasn't compromised the straightness of your spine. Nice and straight, tucking in those abdominals to keep that spine straight, just checking you relax with your neck and shoulders. And then inhaling your right foot up towards the sky. You're going to exhale it through in between the middle of your chest. Inhale it up behind you. Exhaling it over to the left wrist. Inhale it up. Exhaling it out to the right. Inhale it up and exhale through to centre. And then this time you're going to place the foot in between your hands, bringing the back knee down and coming up into your low lunge position. Gently exhaling that, hands down, tucking the back toe under, stepping back to find your downward facing dog. And just again, taking any movement here. You can bend both knees and use it to shift your hips up and back. Before we do the same thing on the opposite side, so this time bringing your left foot to face the back of the room, nice and straight behind you, checking your hips are square. You're going to exhale, bring it through in between your hands. Inhale it up, exhaling it over to the right wrist, inhaling it up, exhale it over to the left wrist. Inhaling it up, exhaling it through to centre, and then bringing that foot through, placing the back knee down on the mat, and inhaling your arms up to find a low lunge. Beautiful. Exhaling the arms down, tucking the back toe under, going back to your downward facing dog. The option to come through a vinyasa here, hold your dog, or to come back into a child's pose for a rest. Wherever you're at, coming back to downward facing dog now. We'll all meet there. On your next inhale, inhaling the right foot back. Exhale it through in between your hands, again using any help to get it through. You're going to come up to find a high lunge position, inhaling the arms up. And then gently grounding the back heel, swinging the arms out to find your warrior two. Again, playing with how long or short your stance is, generous bend on that front knee. And grounding into the front foot and the outer edge of the back foot, keeping those legs nice and active. Option to look over the front fingertips. And then gently hinging from the hips, you're going to straighten off the front leg and bring your hands out and over to the side. So hinging from the hips to find your triangle pose. Holding it here. Again, option to always bring your hands to your hips or have the hand behind the head to help you open out your torso, or keep it straight above the nice wide wingspan if you prefer. Just checking in with your breath here, checking are your legs nice and active. And then in your next inhale, you're going to gently hinge yourself up, twizzling to your front foot, bringing those hands either side as you step the front foot back to find your downward facing dog. And we're all going to come through a vinyasa if that works for you. So coming through, bring your weight forward into plank. You're going to lower down, so option to bring your knees down here, tucking the toes under and coming all the way down. Inhaling up to find your baby back bend before you press up and back into your downward facing dog. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So grounding down into your right foot this time, bringing the left foot up towards the sky. You're going to bring it in between your hands. Coming up to find your high lunge. Inhaling the arms up. Spinning that foot out to the back foot out to the side. Bending that front knee generously and bringing those arms up to find your warrior two. And then from here, you're going to gently straighten off that front leg. Again, tilting the hips a little bit back to give yourself a little bit more space as you hinge forward, coming over, keeping that front leg straight, micro bend. And again, find that triangle pose. So just keeping that wingspan nice and wide if you can. Otherwise, bringing the top hand behind your head and using that to open your torso up. Gently hinge yourself up from the hips, stretching out to the side. And then spinning yourself around, back to your lunge. You're going to ground the hands either side of the front foot, bringing that back foot to meet the front foot to meet the back. Coming into your downward facing dog. Before you gently bring your weight forward into your plank. Gently lower yourself down, whether that's knees, chest, chin, full chaturanga, whichever way you want to do it. Inhale yourself up. And exhale back to find your child's pose. Taking a moment to check in with yourself here and come back to your breath. And when you're ready, gently rolling yourself up to find your downward facing dog once more. From here, you're going to bring your left foot up and back behind you. From your downward dog, bring your left foot up and back. And then you're going to bring the knee up and over towards your right wrist. Bringing that leg out towards the side, onto the side of the foot. And then when you're there, you're going to flip over, bending the right knee to find your fallen star pose. Coming back round, bending at the knee, bring that left foot up and back. And gently lower down onto your knees to find your child's pose. And when you're ready, gently rolling yourself up to find your downward facing dog. Bring your right foot behind you in a straight line. You're going to bring that right foot by your right wrist. Bring that foot, straightening that foot out towards the side. Option to stay here, or otherwise bringing your right hand a little bit further towards the centre. You're going to spin up and out, keeping the left knee bent, pushing the hips up and out to find your fallen star pose. Staying here for a couple of breaths. And then gently twizzling yourself back, bringing that right foot up to reach the sky. Gently bring it back down. Gently floating the knees down to the earth. And sighing a big sigh of relief as you come down to your child's pose. Gently rolling off the wrists here. Before you scooch onto your bum, rolling yourself down to the floor, bringing your feet so mat distance apart, and resting your legs gently in towards each other. From here, option to windscreen wiper the legs, so exhaling over to one side, inhaling back to centre, exhaling out to the other. Option to bring your arms out to shoulder height whilst you're doing this. And gently releasing any tension into your mat, bringing perhaps your knees to rest in towards each other as you take just a couple of moments to let anything go. Checking in with your breath here, bringing that heart rate down, the breath slow and low. And then when you're ready, you're going to roll yourself over onto your favourite side. Pausing for a couple of breaths in fetal position before you gently, super slowly roll yourself up to centre. Rolling your shoulders up, back and down. Inhale your arms up. Exhale over. And bow your head to your hands. Taking a moment to thank yourself for the time and energy you've dedicated to this practice. I'd like to thank you very much for practicing with me. You can also check out my live class schedules in the detail below. I will be adding some more Zoom classes to this timetable, so watch this space.
If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. You can drop me a line at hannah@workabyyoga.co.uk or find me on Instagram or Facebook.